Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Sleepy Celestial. Now guys, let's get right into this. So I was so thrilled to see that episode 4 did such great numbers. It is still going on right now, so if you guys missed it, you guys could go watch it. So today's episode, which is episode 5, is going to be a double upload. So the first part will be covering the Tyrant of Celestial Monarchy, which is part of the Cowboy Carter characters. Now, I've been speculating about the whole Echoville thing, and I did say that I was gonna bring this in full circle. I started analyzing the final picture that we got from Beyonce for the Renaissance tour. I would say the elite celestial body alien, which was in Renaissance, which is the mascot, I would say, for Renaissance. And then we now got a mascot for Cowboy Carter, which is Tyrant of Liberty, I call it. So the Tyrant of Liberty, which was supposed to be the first act, I guess celestial being mascot, we see that it features part of, it's almost as if she's talking about capitalism. She's also referencing the freedom part of the Tyrant Liberty character. Now these characters, I would say these mascot characters that embodies each of the acts, kind of in a way are their separate celestial like entities. I think it's very cool that I started picking up on that. With Renaissance, it was like this aurora blue, and then with Cowboy Carter is this red curtain background, almost as if this showcase of this display of a show. And with the ending of Amen, like I mentioned in previous videos, Amen to me, when it kind of interloops into American Requiem, saw that it kind of like has a double-edged sword type of thing. And I think what's cool that they started bringing more and more of this Bay Tyrant, and there's a song on the Cowboy Carter that is titled Tyrant. So it's pretty cool to see the matchup between Tyrant and as well as the history of this tyrannical celestial being that is, I guess, withholding freedom. Like any of those spaces, I think, match very well with the bigger scope of the Echoville theory. Now, because we're covering the first act of the Echoville theory, and that the importance of the Bay Tyrant as one of the main generals of the Echoville theory, and how this character resembles the Statue of Liberty, but in reality it's almost as if the character that is gatekeeping, she is reflecting her anger and her fears of the country world and the captivation of genre, right? So out of the, I guess, the 3 acts or the 4 acts celestial creatures or beings, this character, I believe, it's kind of like the Tyrant character that's trying to find a way to gatekeep, but it's also trying to be not rebellious, but trying to be not the peacemaker, but in a way it's like a anti-hero type of character, the Bay Tyrant. I think it's very strange that this character kind of resembles that everything that is materialistic of this album, with the large scope of the Americana symbols of Cowboy Carter, the importance of Cowboy Carter, the imagery that was shown in the Cowboy Carter tour, shown this character as one of the front runners to being like the character that envelops the entire scope of Cowboy Carter. You could even say this Tyrant being is the true form of Cowboy Carter when it's not being shifted into different characters. I think it's a celestial cowboy Tyrant, because it still looks like Renaissance, but it's like it lives in the larger universe of Echoville. And I think when Beyonce do reveal Echoville, like the actual Echoville, I think these characters are going to meet, all four of them. So this character sits on the Chardonnay, the golden Chardonnay, as well as Chardonnay, the regular form of the horse. And then I think this character is coming from this triangular portal, whereas the aliens, which when we think of the lyric from I'm That Girl, as well as American Requiem challenges you to cleanse your father's sins. At the same time, it asks you to purify the land, right? But in Renaissance, she said, cleanse me all my sins, my un-American life, right? These things, she's from Renaissance, she's asking herself to be cleansed, to be an un-American patriotic person. Whereas Cowboy Carter is asking to be forgiven from the actual father's sins. Almost as if in Daughter, when you know in Daughter, she says that she's just like her father, but at the same time, she's her own being. But she's also paying respect and homage to her father's sins so she could cleanse it. So when we see different like letters from like American Has a Problem from either Renaissance or even Cowboy Carter, we see that the imagery of breaking news of different things, indicating that the echoes behind the discussion and today's summit. This Leonardo da Vinci character that is flying in the sky, the image of Echoville itself, it's the different characters that has 4 arms. And if we could see, which is freaking amazing, the characters from Renaissance as well as Cowboy Carter, each of them has 4 arms, right? They're like a damn Sejin. They're like 4. They each have 4 arms. And I think when we see each of the characters that we're going to be seeing, they each have 4 arms. That's another thing that I think a lot of people didn't specify. That the summit is between, I'm assuming, the 4 different acts meeting at the summit. The summit could be the different celestial presidents. So there's a part in the Verizon commercial. It's almost as if it's saying that Beyonce is running for presidency, right? And then within the presidency, she is using America Has a Problem as an echo to signal out the importance of the problem. And then there's a part that says the Black Betty tour is already sold out. I referenced this before in the past videos, but I think now I'm ready to talk more and more about it. There's a segment that I will be covering in the next couple of minutes where I briefly explain the importance of the knowledge that she thrown at us for America Requiem as well as Cowboy Carter as a whole, which is explaining that America has multiple problems. America has multiple problems, and some of the most multiple problems are indicating that to counter these issues, it's like America has the problem on land and then by sea and then from the sky. So with the aliens, it's almost as if America has problems. It's like a space invasion. And then Cowboy Carter is like land invasion, resources, gatekeeping. These are questions that Cowboy Carter and Renaissance has imposed upon. And then the driver of Echoville, it's almost like the ghost of future past. This character is traveling into different times and space and is collecting the different fragments that makes up the Echoville. Now, I'm going to get more deeper into this because there is another part of this that a lot of people didn't mention. This character is zooming in to different timelines. The land of angelic Echoville, which is the first imagery of Echoville from Renaissance, showing this chrome-like city, and it is being overtaken in a frozen tundra. Whereas in Cowboy Carter, the ground is being taken over. The ground is taking over by these golden shards of city, right? Cowboy Carter is a very golden city. And then if you could see the bigger scope of Echoville, you see a bit of the silver, gold, and red, and the big lipstick chair. This version of, I would say, imagery came from the Beyonce merch during the holidays. And she basically predicted every single thing that she's planning on dropping. For one, if we really pay attention, we see the Tyrant symbol Liberty, which was the same Liberty statue that ended Amen. And then in certain places it turns green or gold, which now I'm thinking the green could be representation of capitalism during the copper, right? When you think of the original color of the Statue of Liberty, it was a copper bronze, almost like a gold shiny copper. And then over time, due to the humidity as well as the sulfuric and the rain, the color naturally changed into green. And America then now associates the Statue of Liberty color with money, wealth, and prosperity. But over time, we could say that the larger scope of Echoville has constantly changed due to the fact that Beyonce is now literally predicting every different act that is going to come from the Echoville multiverse. I think Echoville is a multiverse, and that everything mirrors in a different way. And the importance of the different things that Echoville has to in store is very interesting. And I think we are not ready for what Beyonce planned on doing once she released the entire embodiment of Echoville. And as this is the first time I'm covering a full length of the full identification of the Bay Tyrant from Cowboy Carter. The Bay Tyrant could be, I'm assuming, could be a good character, depending how we foresee this character. But I think the fight between the aliens and the cowboys, and I think there's one more thing that's coming towards, which will be the humankind, the human race. There's one more race of people that's going to be together. I think also when we think about it, Beyonce is also using the I believe she might use something like that, but if you think of The Last Airbender, right, there are 4 element nation, and then you see the Fire Nation finally attacked, and then we had to get an avatar that's able to represent all 4 different celestial species. I think with the 4th act being Echoville, we might see a character that resembles all 3 different species, and that character is going to be the 3 different species into one, making it the 4th species of the trilogy. And I think the trilogy will transform into a more complex state. So with the closing of Beyonce's Christmas merch, and I think the merch is still up, she was supposed to do something with the I guess residency, but time will tell. But like I said, This was a crazy, crazy thought in my head, and we have one more crazy thought, but this time we're going back in time with Renaissance, which is going to be the second Crown Tundra into the Renaissance. Like I said, the revolution will not be televised. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, love, and let the Act 3 begin.